Hey guys, it's me, Miss Norris, and welcome to We Steam on Wednesday, where every Wednesday in the month of October I have shared a story that is STEAM related, which means that it is either related to science, technology, engineering, arts, or math. Today I'm going to be sharing the story of Iggy Peck, Architect. The story Iggy Peck, Architect was written in 2007 by Andrea Beaty and illustrated by David Roberts. If you're ready to hear the story of a kid who wouldn't let go of his dreams, then I'm ready to share it with you. Here we go. Iggy Peck, Architect. Now, architects are people who build things, and Iggy Peck wanted to build buildings, and that's what architects do. Iggy Peck, Architect. And here at the front of the book, you can see some tools that architects need. They need to be very precise, and that's why it's important to learn about measurement and building and engineering in math. There's some rulers, there's some triangles, there's some pencils and different levers and pulleys. And now the story. Young Iggy Peck is an architect and has been since he was 2, when he built a great tower in only an hour with nothing but diapers and glue. "Good gracious, Ignatius," his mother exclaimed. "That's the coolest thing I've seen." But her smile faded fast as a light wind blew past, and she realized that those diapers weren't clean. "Ignatius, my son, what on earth have you done? That's disgusting and nasty. It stinks." So at 2, he built a tower with apparently used diapers. And at first, his mother was very impressed and still impressed, but maybe less so once she realized that it was stinky. But Iggy was gone. He was out on the lawn using clods to build a great sphinx. So he moved straight on from those diapers to using sand clods, and he made a replica of the Sphinx of Egypt. And it doesn't look like his neighbors are super pleased with this. But it's probably less smelly than dirty diapers. When Iggy was 3, his parents could see his unusual passion would stay. He built churches and chapels from peaches and apples, and temples from modeling clay. So, whatever he had to build with, he built. With fruit, with clay, and his parents, they seemed pretty proud of him. At dinner one night, to his father's delight, Iggy got a bright gleam in his eye, and out on the porch built the St. Louis Arch from pancakes and coconut pie. So Iggy used pancakes and pie to build the St. Louis Arch, and you can see that his father is just watching and like, I can't believe what I'm seeing, and is happy about it. It is pretty cool. Dear Ig had it made until 2nd grade, when his teacher was Miss Greer. On the very first day, she had this to say: "We do not talk of buildings in here. Gothic or Romanesque, I couldn't care less about buildings, ancient or new." She said in her lecture about architecture that it had no place in grade 2. So in 2nd grade, his teacher is Miss Greer, and she wants nothing to do with buildings and architecture. And most of the second graders are curious, but they don't seem to mind. Iggy just keeps building. I think this might be sad for him later. He loves to build. That might seem severe, but she was sincere. For when she was no more than 7, she'd had a great fright at a dizzying height in a building so tall it scraped heaven. On an architect's tour of the 95th floor, young Lila got lost from her group. So when she was 7 years old, we're trying to find out why Miss Lila Greer hates architecture so much. And when she was 7, she went on a tour, and when she was in a very high building on the 95th floor, she got lost from her group. Now, if you get lost on the ground from your group, that's a little bit scary, but imagine being lost when you're up so high. She was found 2 days later in a stuck elevator eating cheese with a French circus troupe. After that day, it's quite safe to say, she thought all building lovers were nuts. As a teacher, she taught that, above all, one ought to avoid them. No ifs, ands, or buts. So, Lila, when she was a young girl and got lost in that tall building, was there lost for 2 days and was found with a circus troupe eating cheese. I could think of better, less horrible things to do. Cheese and circus performers? Yes. Yes, please. As you might guess, it would cause Iggy stress to hear such terrible talk. But he didn't hear. He sat in the rear, while building a castle of chalk. You, Iggy Peck, your desk is a wreck. Tear down that castle right now. You will not build in here. That is perfectly clear. Do you need to see Principal Howe? So, Iggy didn't want to lose his temper about not being able to build and Miss Greer's opinions of buildings. But Miss Greer said, you need to take that down. And get a little bit closer. You can see that it's made with sticks of chalk. Or you're going to have to go see the principal. No, ma'am, Iggy said. He lowered his head, and his heart sank down to the floor. With no chance to rebuild, his interest was killed. Now, second grade was a bore. Oh, yawn. So Iggy's a good boy, and he wants to listen to his teacher. But now that she won't let him build, school is a little bit boring for him. After 12 long days that passed in a haze of reading, writing, and arithmetic, Miss Greer took the class to a Blue River Pass for a hike and an old-fashioned picnic. So they might not be allowed to talk about buildings, but they're going to go on a field trip and have a picnic. Now, that sounds like fun. They crossed an old trestle to a small island nestled in the heart of a burbling stream. But they no sooner passed than the footbridge collapsed, and Miss Lila Greer started to scream. We're trapped here! Oh my! Alas, kids, goodbye! Her eyes rolled back in her head. She dropped to the ground with a vague groaning sound. Oh. Luckily, fainted, not dead. So the bridge is out, and Miss Greer and all of her students are trapped on an island and can't get back to where they came from. And that triggers Miss Greer, and she faints. The class was amazed. They stood there quite dazed, uncertain of what they should do. But one bright young man was off hatching a plan, which started with Miss Lila's shoe. Soon each lad and lass there at Blue River Pass was working together as one. So I'm not sure what they're doing, but Gregory Peck has an idea. And he was inspired by his teacher's shoe. And now he's showing all the other kids what they need to do. And they're all working together to get something done. And when she came to, Miss Lila Greer knew that something quite brave had been done. She looked in the air and saw hanging there a structure with cables and braces. And on the far side, beaming with pride, were 17 smiling young faces. Boots, tree roots, and strings, fruit roll-ups and things, some of which one should not mention, were stretched ridge to ridge in a glorious bridge, dangling from shoestring suspension. So the kids all used their shoelaces and some tree branches and some fruit roll-ups and some underpants. Maybe those are the unmentionables. And they were able to make a suspension bridge being suspended by all of their shoelaces. And they got back to the mainland. It all became clear to Miss Lila Greer as she crossed that bridge over the stream. There are worse things to do when you're in grade 2 than to spend your time building a dream. So, as Miss Greer is crossing that bridge, she's starting to maybe think differently and have her mind changed about building things, and that maybe the most important thing is to build a dream. Now, every week at Blue River Creek Elementary, now every week in Blue River Creek Elementary in 2nd grade, all the school kids can hear, along with Miss Greer, how the world's greatest buildings were made. The weekly guest speaker in t-shirt and sneakers talks of buildings from Rome to Quebec. Of course, he's the guy who builds towers from pie. That brilliant young man, Iggy Peck. The end. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you really enjoyed the story of Iggy Peck, Architect. If you did, please hit that thumbs up button at the bottom of the page. If you're a subscriber already, thank you so much for your support. It really means a lot to me. If you're not a subscriber yet, please click that subscribe button down at the bottom of the page, and don't forget to click the bell so that you're notified when there's new content. I hope you enjoyed this story and hope that you continue to live your dreams. And I'll see you next Wednesday when we steam. Bye-bye.